Oh, it's clobbering time, all right. Fantastic Four, the 2015 version, is another chance to reboot a superhero franchise. This time it's the Fantastic Four and, of course, Doctor Doom, getting another shot at their origin stories and how they end up battling each other while the Earth hangs in the balance. This was a disappointing film, and I even went into it knowing that was a possibility, and I was still disappointed. It's just not well done. There's not really much to love here. I guess if I have to pull a good thing out of this film, it would probably be Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. They are wonderful actors. They are charismatic and fun and interesting people who can also take a good dramatic turn, has been proven in other works that they've done, and yet none of that is on the screen here. None of that even shows up in this movie, and there are many reasons for that. That I didn't enjoy this film. Number one, there is no payoff to anything in this movie. There's a little bit of setup. I actually enjoyed some of the relationship setup between like Ben Grimm and Reed Richards and their relationship, how it was set up. There's some setup to the Sue Storm and Doctor Doom thing. There's some setup to the father and son and daughter thing with the Storm family. All that stuff is set up kind of nicely. The problem is there's no payoff to any of it. None of it actually comes to fruition in any kind of interesting way. The second thing is, this movie's like a piece of toast with no toppings. Like, it's just that dry and bland. It's as if the texture and tone they were going for was this pallid, dark gray, nothing is interesting, nothing is exciting kind of tone. And I don't think it works for these superheroes. We're so used to these amazing Marvel movies that have such a life and such a spark. And here in this Fantastic Four movie, there is none of that. There is nothing to keep your interest in that way. Beyond that, they don't even use the superpowers in this thing well. I mean, look at it. You've got Reed Richards who can stretch. He's Stretch Armstrong in real life. You've got, Sue Storm who can be invisible and use force fields. You've got Johnny Storm who can fly and make fire. And you've got the Thing who's like this indestructible rock. There's some pretty cool stuff in creative ways you could use those powers, but this doesn't do it at all. In fact, Sue Storm is pretty much relegated in this movie to being Glinda the Good Witch and transporting everybody around in her bubble. My car will get me from point A to point B. That's not a superpower to go from point A to point B. I was really disappointed in a lot of that stuff. I also think it's of note that this movie gets a little bit more violent and graphic than I thought it was going to be. That's pretty much a turn it takes in the third act when Doctor Doom all of a sudden turns into John Wick and is just exploding people's heads. But it was something I thought maybe you'd want to know, especially if you're thinking about taking some kids, something like that. But overall, this movie is just one of those movies that doesn't have enough life to it or energy to it or really any story momentum to it to draw you in. And for that matter, the end isn't even good. It's totally anticlimactic. There's not much to it. The way they end up saving the world really pretty much is just like they're the Three Stooges and one of them stands behind and the other one pushes him over. I mean, there's just not a lot of thought put into really any of this, and it makes for an overall very, very disappointing experience, especially when we're used to such good superhero movies hitting our cineplexes. I'd say overall, I would give the Fantastic Four probably a very generous C-. And I only say C- just because it's still a superhero movie. There's still some of that excitement of just, the imagination of it, even though all that is really kind of wasted on the screen. So C- is what I'm going for. Thanks for tuning in to this review. By the way, if you want to check out more, feel free to hit the cards up in the corner. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a second. But once you hit the cards, something will slide out, and you can even do it while the video is running. You can look at other reviews that have happened here on the channel. You can have a link to the website, yourmoviefriend.com, which, by the way, you can search for other reviews by title there, as well as a way to donate to the channel if you'd like to do that. I'd appreciate it. And let me know what you'd like me to review if you do. Also, follow me on Periscope. Aaron Dicer is who you follow, AARONDICER. And I Periscope after I come out of every single movie I go to. Just get my initial thoughts out there, have some interaction with you, some questions about, that you might want to know about the film. So when I do my review, I can make sure and answer your questions, those kind of things. That all happens directly following the movies that I go to on Periscope. Also, feel free to check out the podcast, SiftPop, SiftPop, in iTunes or Stitcher or whatever you use for your podcasts. We do that live every Friday at noon. If you want to listen on Mixlr, is what we use to listen live, but you can subscribe and it'll be in the podcast feed the next day, is basically how that happens. So on to the best ever challenge. This time we're talking about the best ever movie that has the number 4 in it, or the word 4 in it, F-O-U-R, not F-O-R. That expands the category way too big. The word for the number 4 in the title somewhere, and mine is a recent documentary where somebody types on their keyboard under the blanket in a hotel room. There you go. Try to figure that one out. Take a guess at mine in the comments. Also, let me know your favorite movie that has the number 4 in it there as well, and we'll have that conversation. As always, I'll give you 5 extra seconds here to hit subscribe, which is right down in this corner, the little logo. Just click there, hit subscribe, and that way you'll be informed whenever new videos come out. 5 seconds, starting now.